When did you realize that your toxic boss really doesn't care about you? My boss at my marketing job has spent the majority of my career here belittling me. She has no family, no husband, no kids, and fully believes that work is the only worthwhile thing to do in this life. As an example, on Bring Your Kids to Work Day, she deliberately made every single person in the office work 4 hours of unpaid overtime to catch up on the work that was slowed down. When Mike, one of my colleagues, told her he couldn't stay because of his daughter's school play, she told him that if his daughter was a good girl, she'd understand that her daddy was working to be able to send her to school and wouldn't bug him about some stupid play. Another small example is how she genuinely tried denying Cassie, another colleague's honeymoon vacation request, sarcastically saying Cassie and her husband can take a trip when she's retired. We've all conspired against her to try find a way to get her canned, but her corporate record is basically spotless, and our branch under her brings in a lot of money for the company, so we've never succeeded. Fast forward to a few months ago. I had just given birth 3 weeks ago when I got a text from her telling me she was expecting me at work this upcoming Monday. I stared at my phone in disbelief. Linda knew I had 3 months of maternity leave approved by HR. I texted back reminding her of this, and she responded immediately. 3 weeks is more than generous. I need you here or I'll consider it job abandonment. My C-section incision was still healing, and I could barely walk to the bathroom without wincing, but I was a single mom, and this job was my only source of income and health insurance. I couldn't lose it. So that Monday, I dropped my 3-week-old baby at daycare for the first time and drove to work. Linda smirked when she saw me shuffle in. See, that wasn't so hard. She immediately dumped 3 major client presentations on my desk that were due by end of week. When I asked for help since I was still recovering, she laughed. Women have been having babies forever. Stop being so dramatic. It was hell, but I made it work somehow. Everything came to a head 6 weeks later when Linda sent out a company-wide email about a mandatory team-building weekend retreat in the mountain range 2 hours away. The email said in all caps that anyone who doesn't attend will be considered for termination. The retreat involved hiking and rope courses and overnight camping. I emailed her privately explaining that my C-section had gotten infected when I returned to work too early. I needed emergency surgery to clean it out and still had an open wound with drainage tubes. My doctor had forbidden any strenuous activity. Her response was classic Linda. Champions don't make excuses. They show up. The single moms in the office were panicking about overnight childcare. My mom was disabled and couldn't watch the baby overnight. The daycare didn't do overnight work, but I couldn't lose this job. So I went to the retreat with drainage tubes hidden under my shirt and a bag of medical supplies in my backpack. The first morning, Linda announced we'd be doing an obstacle course race. She pointed right at me. Sarah, you're team captain. Show everyone how it's done. I pulled her aside and quietly tried to explain about my surgical wound. I even showed her a picture. She said loudly enough for everyone to hear, I've caught colds more severe than that. Get to it. Something in me snapped. I realized she was never going to listen. She was never going to care. So I decided to give her exactly what she wanted. You're absolutely right, Linda. I should stop making excuses. I walked to the starting line of the obstacle course. My coworkers looked confused and concerned, but no one said anything. I started climbing the cargo net. Halfway up, I felt the drainage tube rip out. Warm liquid spread across my back. I kept climbing. By the time I reached the rope wall, blood was seeping through my shirt. People started yelling for me to stop, but I didn't. I climbed to the very top as blood dripped down. When I finally collapsed at the finish line, my entire back was soaked red. Linda stood frozen while my coworkers rushed to help. Someone called 911 while others used their shirts to apply pressure. The HR director who was at the retreat pushed Linda out of the way and took charge. While waiting for the ambulance, I made sure to tell everyone loudly. I told her about my surgery. I have the emails. Other mothers started speaking up about their own experiences with Linda. Years of silent stories poured out. Linda was escorted off the property that day. The investigation that followed revealed dozens of labor violations. She was terminated, and the company implemented immediate policy changes, including 6 months paid maternity leave. I recovered fully and now lead our company's new parent resource group. Sometimes people ask if I regret what happened. I always tell them the same thing. I bled so the mothers after me wouldn't have to.